before we start this,
How you doing?
I would like to ask, Wewo, are you in the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not far from you, I don't think.
Okay, so here we go.
These Canadians ain't got a care in the world.
Yeah, and how about the way they cheat at the World Series, huh? That's our game, people.
That is
huh?
I'll tell you another thing, the beer sucks.
At least 60 people, including an American sheriff, were detained overnight by Canadian authorities.
I want to call the American
Boys
embassy.
don't
All
win.
I said was Canadian beer sucks.
Can we all just get along?
Good. Honestly, when the co-host he rage baits even more.
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing.
I love you so much. Can't we all just get along? But it was odd because I flew into New York this morning and I seem to have found this in the garbage. I'm not really sure how it got there, but it ended up in the garbage. Yes, 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 yes. Sorry, brother.
It's been a long time, though. I mean,
Oh,
Sorry,
46 years.
46 years is a long time.
But here we go.
So, I mean,
This is what true hockey teams look like. Right here. This bad boy right here. This is what a winner looks like. That down there, that's garbage.
You know, I think Ray Todd said it the best. If you guys were a 51st state, you would have more gold.
they will be soon. So, yeah.
We should have fought for your sovereignty. That's what that's what this game should have been about. It should have been for your sovereignty.
You know how we do history, right? Here on this, like we look at things and facts and stuff like that. You guys might want to look at the only battle between Canada and the United States. It was a while ago,
Yeah.
but you're not going to like the outcome.
I actually don't know anything about it. What can you teach me about it?
Oh, well, we walked in there and burnt your building down. You know, the one you value so much.
The White House?
I don't know if we value it right now, but
Yeah, you don't want to do that right now.
The White House? That was the Canadians, eh?
You know, I mean, hate to tell you, Jay Heat, Americans, Canadians didn't come to this continent. It was actually the British, the Spanish, and the French.
I got
wait a
silly
second.
question.
You are a native Canadian, though, are you?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, eh?
Yeah, eh?
Got to
That's
get
a
down there
question.
and play some hockey, boys. Some real hockey.
In the United States, we're very, I guess, conscious of
Obnoxious?
Native Americans. Do you guys have your version of Native Americans as well?
Yeah, we do. We do, and we did the same thing to them as you guys did to them.
Oh, nice.
Do you
Not
guys,
great.
are you guys guilt tripped as well?
I
Guilt
think more
trip?
so, actually, to be honest.
That's terrible.
Because
Listen, I'm Native American, and I'm also French Canadian, and I am also probably 4 or 5 other things because we all are. So
That's true.
here's how I view it. If what didn't happen, literally none of us would be here right now. It's unfortunate how it happened. It's it's not great, but we're all here because it happened. So let's just not do it again and be grateful that it happened because we're here.
Yeah, you know what? You guys ever watch that cartoon? I know we're kind of off topic here a little bit. Just we'll pull it back in a second, guys. Don't worry. You ever watch that cartoon for the song "This land is my land, this land is your land"? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Fortunately, yeah. I have. Have you, Bully?
No? Okay, so it's a cartoon,
Really?
and I forget the name of the cartoon right now. But you, Bully,
Actually,
you
I might have.
really
I might have. It was a bit much, no?
a bit true though. Like, I mean, we're talking like this is done in like early 2000s, and it really is. Yeah. Spot. I mean, you said a bit much. I would say spot on. You know, is he looking for it right now? Is that what he's doing?
No, I sent him. I sent CryptoWewo's message into Discord so that I could read it, but I can't even open Discord right now.
Nice.
Oh.
It was good.
If she's got it, she should.
Oh, do I have it?
If you got it,
Do you have it?
Let's see. Oh, I'd have to log into, let's see.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, do you got it?
1 second, please.
Go with it.
Do you think I got him? Did I get him good?
Love it.
Okay, good.
Oh, he didn't have to give me credit. You didn't either. I was thinking it would be a great opening for, yeah.
It was great. And I liked it. You should say it if you got it. It should be yours.
He's got it. He'll rock it.
What's up, Dr. Truth? Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you can tap that screen, share it out to some friends, repost it so it ends up on people's For You page, and please follow my co-hosts. Very much appreciated. Thank you guys for being here.
All right. Are we ready?
Ready.
Before we start, as we do every single week, guys, we are not trying to convince you to buy a project in any way, shape, or form. Should you choose to buy ONDO after this, that is completely and solely your discretion. We are simply going into a deep dive based on the things that we do on a regular basis and sharing what we come up with you guys. So that's very important. We're not trying to peddle anything. We are not paid shows. And hopefully you enjoy ONDO. So from CryptoWewo herself, imagine being able to buy fractional Apple shares, earn daily yield on US Treasuries, and trade stocks 24/7, all on blockchain. Same compliance as Wall Street, but without the old barriers like banking hours, high fees, and location restrictions. That's where the TradFi, and crypto merge is heading. And ONDO, it sits right at that bridge.
Through that, brother.
It was a great breakdown.
Love it. You want to take it over, Mr. Bully?
Yeah.
And
okay, so as always, I like to start by trying to clearly discuss some of the real world problems in the financial system before we even talk about what these projects do. And a lot of the biggest problems in finance, they don't actually exist at our level, at the retail level, but they exist at a massive institutional scale. And today, some of the largest trusted financial assets in the world, things like American US Treasuries, American money market funds, these assets are typically locked inside of old legacy systems. And these assets are typically pretty slow to move. And the access to them, a lot of them are actually restricted to your geography, right? They're limited to your banking hours. And the scariest part is that a lot of them are typically only available to your large institutions or your high net worth investors. And it creates a problem because we have a global economy that runs basically 24/7, but the capital doesn't actually run 24/7. The settlement, all of us know that the settlement still takes days. The liquidity is fragmented. It's still spread across different countries and jurisdictions and all different systems. And the access actually depends on where you live and what bank you use. So when you zoom out, you can start to see that the scale issue of this is in the tens of trillions of dollars. And a lot of them are sitting in these low yield bearing assets all around the world. And the reason that they're in the low yield bearing assets is because their job is simply to protect the capital and ensure a safe, steady return. Now, these institutions, they are constantly moving and rebalancing, and they're managing this money. but they're doing it in systems that were built decades ago. And a lot of the same systems that they use still rely on multiple intermediaries. There's still a lot of hands that are touching them, and they could still carry settlement risks in the current financial system that they currently are using when they're dealing with money market funds and assets like that. So it ends up creating a couple structural problems. So the institutions, they have a desire for their assets to become digital, right? We see this happening in real time. They want to digitize their assets because it enables them to have fully transparent and have control of it at all times. But they can't do that if they're going to sacrifice regulation or trust, even sacrificing like legal clarity and things like that. So this is really where ONDO is coming in to try to solve some of the problems that the current financial system is facing when they want to bring some of their traditional assets on chain. Is there anything you guys would like to discuss before I maybe jump into what ONDO actually is?
That was perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So now that you guys hopefully have an idea of the real problem that we have, let's jump into what this project is actually doing. ONDO was originally not a blockchain. Okay, it didn't run a layer 1, it didn't run a layer 2, and it's a tokenization platform essentially. But it's operating at the top of all of the blockchains out there, and its primary job is to take real-world financial assets and represent them in a digital manner that's essentially represented on chain, in order so that they can move on to these modern financial rails that they're currently building and deploying. So ONDO is sitting essentially in between the traditional finance and the on-chain finance. The traditional institutions, the ones that are actually issuing and managing and custodying the assets like your American US Treasuries and your American money market funds, ONDO doesn't actually replace that. They're not coming in. They're not trying to swap out your traditional finance, but they're working with these regulated partners, and they're using blockchain rails as a way to kind of represent and settle these traditional assets on chain. So very simply, ONDO is your infrastructure layer. It's not a speculative asset. It's just they're trying to upgrade the existing financial assets, and the way that they can actually move and interact with each other in your blockchain or in your digital world. And the reason that I started saying that it originally wasn't a blockchain is because there was an update. ONDO later introduced ONDO Chain, and ONDO Chain is your public proof of stake layer 1. That's a blockchain. So ONDO started as a tokenization infrastructure built on top of existing chains, and then they expanded into building their own rails with your blockchain ONDO Chain, excuse me. And this is really for your real-world asset and your institutional environments to kind of come in and expand their ecosystem even further. Guys?
So I would just add to that, the two things that they really focused on initially were just the treasury bills and the MMFs, right? So on-chain settlement and composability. And then they kind of went into the DeFi collateral 24/7 transfer, cross-chain distribution. Do you guys want to talk about the different sections of what they offered in the ecosystem? So just so you get people get an idea of what they have. And I mean, I know we're probably going to touch on this later when we go into the years, but I guess the 4, 5. So you have OMMF, which we just talked about, USDY, Flux Finance, and Nexus Technology. And sorry, one more, ONDO Global Markets. So that's kind of gives you the basis, and we'll talk about what each one is so that you guys know. But that is what the ecosystem is sort of comprised of. Would you guys agree to that? With that, does anybody want to pick up what is OUSG? If not, I can.
Go ahead, go with it.
Okay. So OUSG is tokenized short-term US Treasury exposure. generally positioned for accredited qualified investors for 24/7 mint and redemptions. The APY for that is 3.41%. The TVL right now is $708 million. It was available originally just on Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, and now XRPL. OMMF, which is tokenized money market fund exposure. It's a stablecoin like utility, but with MMF yield mechanics. USDY was built for non-US investors under a Reg S framing. USDY is a yield-bearing stablecoin like token. So it's not a stablecoin, it's a stablecoin like yield-bearing token. It's backed by short-term US Treasuries and bank deposits. It's part of their tokenized real-world asset sector. Flux Finance, which is the other section of their ecosystem, it's a lending protocol governed by the ONDO DAO, designed to use tokenized securities as collateral. Think on-chain repo-like utility. Flux creates a bridge between traditional yield, US Treasuries, on-chain leverage, and liquidity. Now, instead of selling your treasury token, you can borrow against it and stay exposed to the yield. Do you want to say anything? Okay. Ondo's Nexus technology, it enables issuers of tokenized US Treasuries and stablecoins to offer instant minting and redemption to their clients. Super important because now it's instantaneous. They actually are in control of the burning or allocating of their tokens, their stablecoins. Minting, creating new tokens when someone deposits dollars, redemption, destroying tokens, and returning those dollars. Normally with tokenized treasuries, minting and redemption may take hours or days, and it may only happen during banking hours. It depends on custodians and wire transfers, so this is where that's so important. And the last one, part of that ecosystem, is ONDO Global Markets, which they call ONDO GM. Tokenized stocks, ETFs, platformed aimed at bringing public market exposure on-chain for non-US investors. So US stocks like Apple and Tesla, for example, S&P 500 funds and other public securities, through tokenized representation, it can live on the blockchain infrastructure. So it gives people who are not American exposure to these markets. If successful, ONDO Global Markets could expand access to US capital markets globally, allow 24/7 settlement, enable programmable finance, collateral lending, DeFi integrations, and reduce friction in cross-border investing. So that kind of gives you an overview of the ecosystem. Anything you guys want to add? No?
I think you nailed it.
Shankatanka. You want to go on to founders? Unless, Bully, do you want to say anything else?
Yeah. So I think it is important to discuss what BlackRock was doing. Right. They have the U.S. Treasury bills cash into the portfolio. That's on the Build token. We also have the Franklin Templeton's Benji token as well. And I know that you did discuss some of the chains that were listed for some of these. I don't know if I had something else in here. I don't think so. All right, let's go into the team.
The team. You know what? I just want to say a note before you guys take over the team. A note that I made for everybody was Goldman Sachs is among the very top global investment banks, typically ranking number 2 worldwide by revenue and market share. Now, why do I say this? Well, because if you are one of the top people in a global bank making really, really good money, chances are that you're probably going to stay there, unless, of course, there's a better option for you. Enter the team. Go ahead, guys.
And they're both from Goldman Sachs, right?
They're
Yeah.
3 of the top ones were, yeah, absolutely.
So, Bully, do you want to go or I'll?
Yeah, sure. So the team is stacked. And I think that this is important to discuss because it's ultimately kind of what's going to maybe have somewhat of an edge of a prediction of whether or not they can actually be successful. So ONDO Finance and the company and the people that were founded it are led from people that are already heavily involved in your traditional finance, and they're coming from these huge regulated entities, and they're dealing with regulated entities. These are people that have already been dealing with compliance, and they understand how things work, right? So you have the CEO, Nathan Allman. I know this guy looks like he spent years in his basement. He cooked something pretty amazing here. I know he's a sailor, neither here nor there. But he previously worked at Goldman Sachs, as Caveman said, and his responsibilities, I think, was like digital assets and capital markets. So he was dealing with anything from regulations to custody to settlement, and they were essentially looking at some of the institutional money that was coming into these regulated environments, which means that he understands how these institutions actually think and care about risk, how they care about compliance, and how things are meant to be structured. And where is the co-founder? I couldn't even pronounce this guy's name.
Pinku Surana.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in here.
No, he's not. Do you want to say, CryptoWewo, what about Pinku Surana?
So he is the co-founder, and his experience is in the financial system and blockchain engineering from traditional financial roots. And so, yeah, same with Nathan. He is like high level vision and connecting traditional finance to blockchain. So them two, they really focus on the connection from, TradeFi to blockchain. And so what I'll say about Ondo is it's DeFi, but it's not. It's like there's a term that combines all three of them. So what is it? Sci DeFi? And it's because, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah. So it's decentralized, but they need it to be very almost centralized for compliance reasons, right? So onto the team. Senior executive team is Justin Schmidt. Did I say it right? He's the president and COO. He is the head of the digital asset markets at Goldman Sachs, and he joined the team to oversee operations, strategy, and institutional scaling.
Ironically, he was an investor, right? Originally?
Yeah. Ian DeBode, I'm probably not saying their names right, but he joined as consulting leadership role, advising major financial institutions, and he focuses on like long-term strategies and partnerships. Production and engineer. Did you want to say something?
No, keep going. You're going to say it.
Production and engineering leadership. So you have Gabriel. Help me out. Bacanani.
Just Ian DeBode for a second. The really cool thing about his education, I'm like, interesting. I wonder where they're going to head with this. So he has an MSc in nanoscience and nanotechnology, which I was like, interesting. MBA from Stanford Graduate School of Business as well. Who were you saying? Next person?
So Gabriel Snani. He's the chief product officer, and he leads product strategy and development across this tokenization asset products. You got anything for him? Ali,
I don't.
Ali Asman, VP of Engineering. He oversees engineering teams building protocol functionality on the blockchain infrastructure. A couple more. Andrew Goon, lead software engineer, core infrastructure development. Yash is smart contract engineer. So he focuses on integration with tokenized assets frameworks, and Max Bokva, whatever, responsible for product interface and experience design.
So regarding the first couple people we were talking about, their background matters because Ondo's edge isn't just smart contracts, it's structuring and compliance. And distribution relationships, because that's what it's all about. They're in the business of finance. And so distribution relationships is key. They have to look familiar to TradFi. And that is why a bunch of Goldman Sachs guys left and joined to bring ONDO to the forefront. Absolutely important that you understand the ramifications of their actions. This isn't just they feel like doing it one day for shits and giggles. Go ahead, Bully.
Can I ask you guys how important to you that you find these projects that has a team where you have people that were already deeply embedded inside of environments that they are currently now trying to target? As a long-term investor, from a probability standpoint, does that matter for you guys that they could have? Is that a success kind of thing for you?
So for me, I'm like opportunistic. Like I can see things, right? And I'm like, I can see something happening there, something happening there. Like I want to do something with tokenization because I see something going there. And I feel like people who are working are already in that sector and they break off and do their own thing. It's because they see a need that needs to be filled. And does that make sense? So yes, I think absolutely when you have a group of people like that who do something very specific like this. Yeah.
The answer is yes, absolutely 100%. They have a lot of top tier partners. One of those partners is Goldman Sachs.
Yep.
If you're trying to match TradFi and FinTech and you've brought them with you, absolutely 100% crucial.
Yeah.
So all three of us can agree that it doesn't guarantee success based on the history, but it does kind of raise the probability that a project can actually navigate through the regulations, the partnerships, without kind of blowing itself up. These people know what they're doing, right?
Right. Definitely. I mean, they know the system, they know the rules, they know the regulations, they know, the ins and the outs. So I think, yeah, they've got a better chance of surviving than somebody who doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, like if you go back to Nathan Allman, right? Global markets, digital assets and global markets for Goldman Sachs. At Chain Street, he was a quantitative cryptocurrency hedge fund. That's what he was in charge of. Pinku was the architect at Symbian, designed a resilient blockchain and smart contract language, PhD in computer science. So like for me, it's not just so much who you worked for, but rather, do you have the proper skill sets to maintain a blockchain or a project to its next level? Or are you kind of just like all dev or all business and you're trying to find your way? For me, this team is stacked from day one. Absolutely 100%. Bully, how do you feel? You asked us.
Yeah, I think that it does increase the probability that they can actually become successful with what it is that they're chasing in terms of when you're dealing with your regulated entities, your integrations, your partnerships, your custodians, dealing with TradFi. I mean, these people know how to sit in a room. They know how to set up meetings. They know how to bring people on the chain. They know exactly how to sell these products. But most importantly, they know how to move through it in a regulatory and a compliance manner, which I just think kind of adds to the success of a project. There's a lot of bad, I want to say that there's a lot of crap out there. You have a lot of blockchain projects that have teams where these people necessarily, I mean, you're playing in two different leagues here, right? You got the MLB versus your college, NCAA, and this is straight major leagues right here.
Where you got varsity, high school.
So it's funny because you were talking about selling, being in a boardroom and being able to sell, which brings me right into what they were saying here. So ONDO's pitch to sophisticated allocators is basically these things. Tokenized cash equivalents beat idle stablecoins with yields, especially in high rate regimes. Now, if you can add instant mint redemption, credible custody, and compliance, you can turn these tokens into collateral settlement assets and treasury management tools. And the long game is bringing capital markets on chain, not just treasuries, equities, ETFs, cross-chain settlement, and enterprise rails. ONDO has emphasized moving from tokenized exposure to liquidity and settlement utility. That's key for me. Example of instant subscriptions, redemptions, or multi-venue liquidity, rebase accumulating token variance, which I guess brings us into tokens. You want to talk about tokenomics?
You want Bully, or do you want me? I got some notes for tokenomics here.
Tokenomics, everyone's favorite.
Tokenomics, yay.
Let's hear it.
You want me to go?
Yep.
Okay, I did bullet points. So total supply, fixed 10 billion. So no inflation, no extra minting ever, forever capped, right? It's an ERC20 on Ethereum. Its main utility right now is governments for ONDO, DAO, and protocols like Flux and Finance. Holders vote on proposals. Needs at least 100 million to submit for a proposal. No direct revenue share. I don't know how boring you want me to get with it, because I can go.
Get us boring. We are here.
Okay.
We are here for the nuts and bolts. Let's do it.
Yeah, get
So
nerdy
there's
with it.
no direct revenue share. So yields for OUSG, USDY, tokenized stocks, etc. They do not flow to Ondo's holder. Value comes from the ecosystem growth and adoption. So I thought that was really important. So even though OUSG is really big and integrated with BlackRock, which we'll get into a little bit later, that does not drive the price up for Ondo specifically. It's the growth of the ecosystem. So allocation breakdown, the ecosystem growth is 52%, 5.21 billion tokens. That's for grants, partnerships, developer incentives, community rewards, liquidity mining, and RWA expansion. Protocol development teams and contributions. So that's 33% or 3.3 billion tokens. And that's for building, security, compliance, new features, like perps, global markets, things like that. And then private sales, early incentives, private sale and early investors, sorry guys, 13%, and that's 1.29 billion tokens. And public community sales is 2 to 4%, smaller portion for public buyers. So the vesting and unlocks, most tokens started locked with long schedules up to 2029, and vesting is to keep really from rug pulls and selling too quickly and a little bit of market manipulation. So big unlock events, January 25 and January 26, 1.94 to 2 billion tokens were unlocked in early 2026. These caused some selling pressures. Ondo fell 88% from 214 all-time high in late 2024. So current circulating supply is 48 to 49%, which is 4.87 billion Ondo unlocked. And the remaining tokens are vest gradually over the next major ones. The next major one is in 2027. So fully diluted, 2.6 billion at current price levels. Long-term, potential.
So 10 billion total max supply, right?
Yep, right.
So basically, guys, if January 18th comes and you're thinking about buying Ondo,
That's a good day.
maybe wait one more day.
Yeah, exactly. Wait till the unlock. That's right.
Maybe wait for the 1.9 billion to be released. Now, I mean, and I know CryptoWewo just said it, but just to confirm or just to hit that home, unlocking doesn't mean immediate sell pressure. Not all unlocked tokens are sold. Many are simply, like she said, vested and transferable. Holders like team members, investors, and ecosystem reserves may or may not choose to sell. Distribution timing and market conditions can influence actual supply pressure.
What was the date for that unlock?
January 18th, every year. 1.9 billion.
Yeah.
So if you were a trader right now, which none of the three of us are, and right now it's February 22nd, we're probably at a low for the year,
I would say, yeah.
right? Just saying.
Hmm.
You guys want to hop into timeline, things that happened? Did you guys realize, because I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't realize that as far as like crypto projects go, Ondo is very new. Did
It
you
is
realize that?
very new,
Like
right? 2020,
very
2021.
2021. Like you
Yeah.
might as well just be holding it like this right now. Like
Yeah, it's just a
that's
baby.
Yeah.
she's a babes. Okay, so I'll start if that's okay with you guys. 2021, DeFi structured products, DeFi fixed income. As Bully already said, Ondo Finance was co-founded by Nathan Allman and Pinku Saruna. Probably bastardized that last name. Missions of bringing structured finance and institutional grade products to DeFi. The July 27th, 2021 launched Early Vaults. It went live on Ethereum. So Early Vaults went live on Ethereum. Basically, what Early Vaults meant was that they wanted to split the risk between fixed yield and variable yield participants, having what CryptoWewo was talking about, structured DeFi. The idea was to offer structured DeFi products where users could deposit assets and earn yield through smart contract strategies. This era competed in the same noisy DeFi arena as everyone else, high yield, reflexive liquidity mining, which led to rising systemic risk in 2022. Ondo expanded, however, creating liquidity as a service, or what they called LAAS. It's a way of projects to boost liquidity on decentralized exchanges without traditional mining incentives. In November, LAAS launched with Fei Protocol, helping them bootstrap liquidity without traditional mining. In December, it expanded LAS with Frax Finance, which supplied liquidity using its stablecoin Frax. In 2022, it was about funding, and Ondo's issuance rights moved to a foundation. Ondo Finance raised $20 million in a Series A funding round led by major investors like Founders Fund, Pantera Capital, and participation with Coinbase Ventures, Wintermute, Tiger Global, Golden Tree Asset Management, Flow Traders, and a couple others. Ondo's foundation was also established. It was formally named, what Bully already said, Neptune Foundation, and it acquired Ondo token issuance rights. Just for you guys to know, Ondo Foundation is a Cayman Island foundation company. Its mission is to usher in a new era of financial inclusivity and market efficiency through on-chain institutional grade financial products and services. Ondo Foundation is a nonprofit with no beneficial owners. The mandate is specifically focused on several key areas: supporting innovation, promoting awareness, treasury management, contract deployment, web application management, strategic partnerships and engagement, intellectual property management, and community events and engagement. So that's kind of what Ondo Foundation is about. Another thing that happened in 2022, which is a big one for them, CoinList community access sale occurred in mid 2022. Basically meant that there was an early public token sale, giving retail participants access before full liquidity with vesting attached. Vesting basically just means, for people who don't know, yes, you buy the token, but it's locked up and you can't sell it for a year or whatever they say. 2022, there were major market events. Example, DeFi stress. We talked about that. It crushed the appetite for experimental DeFi yield, and it accelerated the industry pivot toward real yield and regulated collateral. Ondo's strategic pivot lined up perfectly with the regime shift. In 2023, Treasuries, MMFs, they came on chain for Ondo. In January, OUSG, which I talked about a little earlier, it was launched, a key starting point for tokenized treasury adoption. In April, the OMMF was announced, which is a tokenized MMF exposure with stablecoin-like mechanics. In August, USDY was launched, which is a tokenized note secured by treasuries and bank deposits. It's a permissionless yield coin framing for non-US investors. And then there was expansion to more chains and ecosystems that began. USDY was available in Ethereum, Cosmos ecosystem, and Solana. 2023 is widely regarded as the year ONDO shifted from traditional DeFi, its early V1 product, version 1 products, into a more compliance-oriented RWA model with what became known, which what Bully was talking about, as version 2. This was when Flux Finance lending was introduced and early governance proposals began. OMMF was announced alongside the OUSG and USDY, like I said. And like I said, ONDO DAO started enabling governance with ONDO token proposals. Misty, do you want to take over 2024?
Sure. So in 2024, ONDO governance token officially launches. It was quickly listed on exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, KuCoin, and Bybit. And retail visibility and trading liquidity surged. So then ONDO moves from mostly institutional infrastructure to public crypto spotlight. And I'm going to throw in another influencer here named Coach Ty. I don't know if either one of you know who he is, but he pumped ONDO hard. So good for him. But that's when that kind of came online. So in March of 2024, BlackRock launched BUIDL, a tokenized treasury fund. And it's a tokenized money market style fund, and it holds short-term US Treasuries such as cash, repurchase agreements, repos, the same kind of assets you'd find in traditional institution liquidity, but ownership is represented on blockchain infrastructure. And so at this point, ONDO decided, instead of trying to fight against BlackRock, to kind of join BlackRock. And I can go into my little blurb. Their tokenized market, the BUIDL, is a tokenized money market fund on Ethereum. It's backed by short-term US Treasuries for stable yields. Almost immediately, ONDO Finance made headlines by migrating over 95 million of its OUSG reserves. So that's part of, yeah. So OUSG is ONDO's main tokenized short-term treasury product. So they put it right into BUI. Can I just say BlackRock? BUIDL. Build is. Can I say that? I was gonna. I was thinking
I'm
that
dyslexic.
too.
I'm dyslexic.
I kind of am too. But okay, so we'll just call it Build, even though
We're
that's
gonna call it
not
Build.
right.
Yeah.
Build within the first week. So they started with 15 million, and then they added another 79 million in quick stages, making ONDO one of Build's biggest holders early on. And at one point, it held 38% of the total supply. So the integration was huge. It enabled instant 24/7 monitoring redemptions using USDC through Circle, ditching slow traditional settlements for true on-chain speed while keeping everything compliant and institutional grade. So that was the biggest jump, I think. That was in March. So the impact is faster treasury settlement infrastructure, 24/7 mint redeem credibility, and that improved that. So institution credibility rises. In April, it continued capital flows into OUSG, integration work around liquidity and settlement optimization, and tokenized treasury narratives were really gaining traction. So July through September, OUSG expands chain accessibility, Ethereum through Ethereum primarily. Polygon, Solana integrations, improve liquidity. They wanted to improve their liquidity reach, so they did some stuff there. October through December, total value locked passes 500 million. Tokenized treasury sector grows into multi-billion category, and ONDO token rallies with RWA narrative. Approximate ATH around 2.14 in December. January, February of 25, total value lock crosses 1 billion across ONDO ecosystems. It launches on to Nexus liquidity infrastructure and improves institutional onboarding and enhances third-party issuer access. March and April, it expands exposure to institutional treasury funds, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, and Wisdom Tree, continuing strengthening the RWA narrative. May through July, acquisition of Oasis Pro, SEC registered broker-dealer platform, boosts regulatory positioning in the United States and strengthens compliance and credibility. September 2025, it launches of ONDO Global Markets, tokenized US stocks and ETFs, 24/7 economic exposures to equities, and 240 million total value lockup within the first week. October through November 2025, tokenized equities expand rapidly with 370 million TVL and 2 billion trading volume by late year, increasing institutional interest in tokenized equities. In December, OUSG surpasses 770 million TVL and USDY crosses 1 billion TVL at peak periods. Tokenized treasury sectors firmly established, and ONDO holds significant shares of RWA tokenized infrastructure. Yeah. And then ONDO token launches. You guys know that. That should have been the first thing. I did say that, right? In the beginning of 2024, I think it was January. And the build integration, and yeah. So yeah, that's what I have. I have some other stuff, but
So for 2026, because I did a little deep dive in 2026 to see what's going on for ONDO.
All right.
January 28th, which is not too long ago, ONDO's USDY officially launched on Say. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Say, but it is probably a project we should be voting on. Just saying. Leveraging Say's parallelized EVM architecture, the network achieved approximately 400 MS finality and 12,500 TPS throughput, providing a high-performance settlement environment for institutional-grade assets. Currently, USDY's market capitalization exceeds $1.2 billion, and this integration brings one of the largest capital pools in the RWA field into the Say ecosystem. February 3rd, ONDO Finance announced that it's soon launching ONDO Perps, which is essentially derivatives, to allow users outside the United States to trade perpetual futures on leading US stocks 24/7. A perpetual future, for people who don't know, like I said, it's a derivative contract. It tracks the price of an underlying asset like Apple stock. It has no expiration date. It can be traded with leverage. It trades 24/7, international users only at this point, and you don't have to actually own the stock. As of February 2026, ONDO Finance is the largest provider of tokenized treasuries and stocks. It has surpassed $2.5 billion in total value locked TVL across its tokenized products. However, the roadmap isn't can ONDO tokenize things. We clearly see that it is. Rather, can they scale trusted distribution with wallets, chains, and enterprises? Can they grow secondary liquidity without subsidizing it forever? And can they stay on the right side of evolving security guidance for tokenized equities? That last one, I want to, for the people who are not listening in the back, I'm going to repeat it. Can they stay on the right side of evolving security guidance for tokenized equities? That for me is probably the most important thing. Anything you guys want to say?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of tokenized stocks, it's an absolute monster. I think they have like a 60 something, almost a 60% market share dominance for tokenized stocks. Absolute monster. Another thing that I did want to discuss was the Clear Street. I don't know if you guys talked about it a little bit, but Clear Street is essentially a prime brokerage. And I think that it matters because it's like your institutional capital that can actually move in the real world, right? If they don't have regulated rails behind it, then nothing's actually going to move at scale. Maybe you guys also mentioned the Securitized partnership as well, but Securitized is an absolute RWA monster. I think that is
Securitized, and the Say one. They actually kind of mingle together for Say.
Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, this is essentially kind of like a signal that they are aligning with your regulated markets. This is kind of a direction that's showing us that they are working with regulated institutions as well. I think it's also I don't know. Maybe I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll jump into this.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Okay. Yeah. So this was case closed, clearing the way for tokenization. This was something like if we do jump into regulation, are you guys ready to jump into regulation and compliance?
Do it.
Okay.
I'm in.
This is all about survivability, whether or not these projects can survive. As a long-term investor, this is something that we got to be paying attention to because if they can't comply with the rules, regulations, and laws, then they're not going to survive long-term. So we need to figure out whether or not these assets can actually fit inside of regulated environments. It's important to understand that ONDO's entire model is kind of designed around regulated financial services. It's already sitting between your money market funds, US Treasuries, and things like that, where they have heavily regulated frameworks. Now, in here, this was I probably lost my highlight, but this was kind of like an indicator for them that ONDO Finance had received a formal notice that a confidential multi-year SEC investigation initiated under the Biden administration has been closed without any charges. I'm not sure. The inquiry began in 2024. I'm sure that it began under Biden's presidency. Maybe it dropped under Trump's. I'm not so sure. But this decision reflected a broader U.S. shift in policy. So there was, for some reason, the SEC was kind of looking after them. But that case ultimately has been closed. In terms of your compliance, like your AML, your KYC, things like that, that's essentially your baseline for your survivability in these ecosystems. If you have institutions that don't necessarily care about compliance from day one, then they're never going to touch institutional scale. So the way that this ecosystem is pretty much set up is that I don't believe that they're actually touching the compliance themselves. I believe it's kind of pushed off to the institutions that are already holding, custodying, issuing your treasuries, your money market funds. This is kind of just the middle for them to apply that institutional and digitization of the assets, but I don't believe that they actually are responsible for the KYC themselves. Do I have that correct? I think
Yeah,
it is correct.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you could see it in the way that they have their partnerships. If they're maintaining these institutional partnerships, then these institutions will never actually review or sit down or actually start integrating in with a company like ONDO if it would put their license at risk, right? If it would
Correct.
kind of eliminate their own compliance. So when you have these institutions that are partnering with them. These institutions, they're already dealing with the banks. They're already dealing with the custodians. They're already dealing with the asset managers. They're already knees deep in with the compliance and the regulatory body. So I think that it does provide a good means for them to have a clear path for that long-term survival, especially when you start to throw in things like your MiCA frameworks and even frameworks for like your US securities and custody requirements. All of those compliance standards, they're already baked in with the institutions that are actually onboarding with this type of ecosystem.
So the only reason why I pushed back a little bit there without saying it was because I was wondering if their partnership with MasterCard multi-token network, I wonder if that's going to be a payment enterprise network. Would that require KYC? That would be the only question I'd have. But everything else, you're right. It's if you're going to be offering a payment system like between company to company, then I don't know where that's headed.
So your question is if it's up to MasterCard themselves to provide the KYC.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
I think it has to. KYC onboarding requirements for ONDO is your identity verification. So it does look like there is KYC on the ONDO part.
It's actually isn't that a big part of ONDO is the KYC?
This is why we do this.
So that was my understanding is that's what makes this asset kind of special, I guess. It's not just the tokenization because let's be honest, that section, real world tokenization, that whole section is kind of getting very crowded. But ONDO provides that layer. And that's kind of what I was saying with the centralized, it's like CDFI, right? So it's centralized, decentralized, but it's regulated. So KYC.
So for USDY, you need KYC and AML, which kind of makes sense, right?
Anything banking. And if it doesn't have that and it's in the banking sector, you need to cut it right away. Like that is not a good sign if it doesn't have that in it integrated. Yeah.
So yes, USDY and OUSG both require KYC and AML, anti-money laundering for those who don't know.
Thank you for the corrections.
I love it. This is why we're here.
Great.
Learning together. Boom. Okay. You want to keep going?
I'm good with the compliance and the regulatory manner. Is there something else you guys would like to jump into?
The regulation survivability, I think it's like for me, 7.5 to 8.5, like it's going to survive regulation. But it's not a guarantee. So I think another part with ONDO is if big institutions decide to tokenize everything internally, they're not going to really need a like middle layer protocol. So that's a little bit sketchy for me too, because tokenization is one of those things where I feel like more things could pop up easier than some of the other stuff. Like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
as far as like
they are dealing with your money market funds, your treasuries, and they are held to the highest regulatory standards. So they have to ensure that they are consistently maintaining that regulatory status. Otherwise, it kind of pushes them out of the market. That is a requirement for them. That's the survivability. They have to maintain that regulatory clarity and maintenance.
Yeah.
See, for me, I go back to the integration and the partnerships, right? This is actually where I'd like to go, if that's okay with you guys, just a little bit here. I want everyone to think of partnerships in 3 buckets. To look at the list of liquidity, Simply put, guys, this is the who's a who. MasterCard, Ripple, Solana, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Google, Figure, BlackRock, Franklin Templeton. These are all people that they are currently partnered and integrated with. That doesn't just happen because they felt like it. This is real integration and partnerships. The first bucket I want to think about is asset and liquidity plumbing or institutional credibility. BlackRock, Securitize, Circle, is instant liquidity designed for OUSG. This is a credibility wedge with TradFi and stablecoin rails. MasterCard's MTN is tokenized treasuries inside enterprise payment flows. It's a real distribution channel if it scales. Ripple, XRPL, RLUSD, it provides another institutional settlement rail narrative. The second bucket is the chain distribution, where users actually are injective. So there's USDY availability, Arbitrum, Aptos, Cosmos via Noble is USDY expansion, and the BNB chain is ONDO's GM expansion. The last bucket is on-chain capital markets. They're the stack, actually. So you have Chainlink, which we didn't talk about, but it's oracles plus CCIP for tokenized equities, ETFs. It makes composable DeFi collateralization more realistic if the regulators allow the structure. And Ondo's Nexus, which is the multi-issuer liquidity layer, attempts to become the liquidity router for tokenized treasuries and yield coins, not just the issuer. So Ondo's Nexus could be a major player too. What has Ondo done to date? Well, it rotated stablecoin balances into treasury MMF yield with on-chain transferability. DeFi collateral, use tokenized treasuries as collateral in lending markets, and enterprise payments with MasterCard MTN Angle. Businesses earn yield on idle cash and deploy 24/7 without needing stablecoin on-ramps, which is pretty big. And the last thing is tokenized equities, ETFs, 24/7. Ondo's GM, tokenized stocks, ETFs with securities held via regulated intermediaries, a hard word to say, now expanding cross-chain. So that is what Ondo is and is working on right here, right now. That's not something you can build overnight. This isn't something they're just going to switch from like that. This is infrastructure being laid. The pipes are being laid down. Conclusion, boys and girls, what do you think?
Before we jump into that, can I maybe discuss the TAM, the demand, and how the token actually obtains its value? So the demand, right? What is the total addressable market for a project like this? Well, they're tapping into your capital markets, right? The institutions, this is money that is at the center of the market. Your US Treasuries, your money market funds, bonds, cash equivalents, things like that.
Derivatives.
The US Treasury market alone is worth tens of trillions of dollars. Add on top of that, more trillions of dollars when you're looking at money market funds. And that money is consistently moving, right? It's being repositioned, it's being rebalanced, it's being used as collateral. And the institutions, they rely on that for like your liquidity management and aspects like that. So even if a small percentage of the market transitions do come onto these tokenized rails, you're still talking about trillions of dollars that is interacting in with Ondo's ecosystem. Now, that doesn't mean that trillions of dollars go directly into the token. It just means that trillions of dollars could actually move through the system. And it's important to understand what the token is actually doing in this ecosystem, because you may hear trillions of dollars and it may trick you into thinking that it could put pressure onto the thing. So Ondo is the token is not needed to necessarily run the network itself. If I'm correct on that, it is the underlying blockchains, right? The ones that are actually handling the security, the consensus, and the actual settlement. It's not on the actual token itself, right? The token is not needed for the system to function. It's not.
No, the token is to fund the rest of it.
It's a governance. It's a governance token.
It's tied to the governance. the ecosystem, the decision making about how the actual platform is essentially going to operate.
Yeah.
So since the actual token doesn't necessarily have that demand for the settlement aspect of it, it doesn't equal like demand in the project like you would see in other blockchains. So if trillions of dollars are moving through ONDO's ecosystem, that doesn't automatically push the price of the token.
Right.
Value moving through ONDO's system doesn't guarantee value flowing into the ONDO token, right? That's the difference between a utility token and a value capture token. This one does not capture value. So that's just the mechanics of it. That's how this thing is actually designed. And as long-term investors, we are supposed to kind of incorporate those things, because understanding that really does matter when you are paying attention to institutional onboarding and potential TAM or demand that can potentially flow through this ecosystem.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good. Yeah. Thanks for that. So if you don't mind, I'll touch on, so I always like to go through and I like to find other assets that are similar to or
competitive landscape.
And I couldn't find one that does exactly what this one does, but there was a few close ones, so we'll go over it. So Securitize was probably, well, Securitize and BlackRock's build were the two closest. So Securitize focuses on institutional tokenized securities. So it's a little bit different lane. It's a little bit more TradeFi and infrastructure oriented. And then BlackRock's build is more focused on tokenized fund backed by, sorry guys, tongue tied, tokenized fund backed by treasuries. So it's, yes, it's institutional tokenization, but do you see how ONDO like jumped in there? Because I think it knew and it saw that they could take over what they were doing. And instead of trying to compete, they kind of joined forces with Build, which I think was very smart. And then you have, yeah, go ahead.
So I would say there's a couple more.
Yeah.
So I split it in two. So for so there's Treasury and MMF yield, and then the other one was like equities and ETFs. So I agree with BlackRock 100%. Open Eden is another one. Franklin Templeton's Benji is another one, and Circle USYC is technically one as well. And then for ETFs, the comparative, like, because you're right, there's nothing that does exactly what ONDO does. I completely agree with you. But for tokenized equities and ETFs, I mean, crypto exchanges, brokers like Robinhood and Kraken, there's also, I forgot to say also, maybe you want to put, what is the one that does TradFi and is working with Canton?
So I have Aave, Horizon Market, Rexus Finance, and Chainlink as well. But there's still like Chainlink is kind of in there, but it's touching, but it's not really in there.
No, it's more of an oracle there.
Yeah, and then so Aave Horizon Market is more focused in the borrowing, lending with RWA collateral. And then Rexus Finance, guys, I'm totally going to blow this one up because I have been investing in this for a minute, like pre-sale investing.
What have you been?
Rexus Finance. It's an RWA tokenization. I've been investing since pre-sale. I totally believe in this one. It's RWA related, but it's kind of different asset structured. But yeah, you guys should check that one out. So it's so hard for me to like talk about stuff like in my lives. People are like, "Oh, what are you investing in?" And I'm like, "Rexus Finance." It's so people bought it though, and they expect it to blow up like overnight. And I have to keep in mind, like, I'm in a different mindset. So when it starts dropping, people are like, "But you said," I never said it was going to moon tomorrow. But I do like that one a lot. So I was glad that it popped up on this whole breakdown. Yeah. And then I said Chainlink, but that's like an Oracle data for real world pricing. So it's not really like, you know.
All right, so adoption timeline. I mean, in the near term, tokenized treasuries are already on chain. Midterm, we got MasterCard in the sites for payments. And then the hardest and biggest factor is tokenized equities at scale. This is where regulatory clarity is the ultimate factor more than the tech.
Yeah.
So Ondo can outperform if value capture expands beyond governance narrative. For example, here's what you're looking for. If you guys are wanting to invest in Ondo, these are the things you should be looking for. Ondo becomes tied to meaningful incentive flows, liquidity mining equivalents for RWAs, cross-chain settlement incentives, DAO treasury strategy that actually matters, and or Flux, Nexus, Ondo GM. So like the Flux, Nexus, or Ondo GM drive sustained measurable on-chain activity that markets price as durable and unlock events are absorbed without crushing the price. Key investor risks. Ondo's price can run far ahead of the actual token utility, especially when RWAs are the dominant narrative. And then we'll get hit by unlock mechanics or regulatory headline risks. As ROI guys, I'm just gonna say what I think, and then you guys can say what you guys think. I give it a 6 out of 10. But I'm also pretty sour today, so maybe it's
Are
6.
you sour today because you lost? Because you lost? Because you're
This
for a
guy's
loser?
been. I'm not for a loser. Just I don't keep rubbing the flag in my face every 2
Oh,
minutes.
He
you
is
only did
actually
it.
shifting. In the beginning of the week, he had Tim Hortons. Now I see him with the Starbucks cup. So I mean, we'll see. Maybe sooner or later you'll privatize your health care as well. We'll figure that one out later.
Wow, we already did. It's just we don't talk about it. So I give it a 6 out of 10 as a long term. I give it a 6 out of 10 as a short term investment. Long term, I don't know if I'd go much higher. Maybe a 7. I'm a little concerned about the governance aspect of things, and I don't know, like you know, what Bully was talking about. I really don't know if the like I listen what they're doing. If I could if I could own a piece of Ondo and work there, I'm in. Like if you give me shares in that company, I'm 100% in. I love what they're doing. I think it's fantastic. I think they're going to do very, very well. Will that mean that we're going to actually benefit from it? As an investor, I don't know. I could be wrong. I am not saying no. I'm just saying I would be less likely if you gave me my last 10K. I don't know if that's where I'm going to put my money personally.
I
How do
would
you guys feel?
not definitely put it there. That would not be my first pick at all.
How do you guys feel? What's your ROI number as far as like out of 10? Do you give this a 9 out of 10?
Bully, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of my pros and cons, I like the use case. I like the utility. Right, they're focused on the core of global finance, your treasuries, money market funds. They're already targeting the institutions that people already trust, use. They're built for institutions. It's not retail speculative hype. They have a compliance first approach. The downsides to it is the value doesn't necessarily reflect in the price of the token. There could be competitors. I know that they have a large market share dominance. You said in treasuries and in the tokenized stocks as well, right? So they have they are dominating in that, but they're competing against your asset managers, your custodians, and your large financial institutions. So that the tides may change at some point. We don't necessarily know. I would probably say if I had to rate the project out of 10, I would probably give it like a 6.5. I do own the project. I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty tasty chart right here. 80% down, 80% for the 1 year. I don't necessarily plan on aping into the project, but for a free 80%. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I don't necessarily know in terms of how large the ROI could be for this as a retail investor. I'm not so sure on that. We don't typically talk price anyway, but still, I don't have expectations. I don't necessarily know. I don't understand where this thing could end up.
So I, again, give my score higher than both of you.
Good. Somebody
I
has
give it
to.
an 8.5. So I'll go over my little bulletin points. So I think it's strong in integration with BlackRock's build. That builds credibility, of course. Exposure to asset managers like Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, and WisdomTree. It's positioned in the institutional tokenization trend, which I really like that. So it's real utility, which I like. It provides treasury exposure on chain. It generates real yield from traditional assets, and it solves real settlement and liquidity problems. So then it has the CDFI positioning, which I think is probably my favorite part of this because I think it's got to be. So it bridges traditional finance, compliance, and custody to crypto infrastructure, DeFi liquidity, and blockchain rails. And I think I like this so much because I feel like we live in this decentralized world with crypto that we love, but things are going to shift into a centralized, decentralized model. It's going to look different than we have, but I've been screaming this from the rooftops. It's going to look very different in the future. I love that about that. So, all right. Risks for me is, like you guys were talking about, it's governance focused and it's not directly tied to treasury yields. And its price depends heavily on narrative and adoption. So that's, but I think that's narrative right now is where we are with all crypto. So we live in a narrative driven world. When utility kicks in, things are also going to look very different, in my opinion. Okay, so I think that it could do fairly well long term. I think the price appreciation is there for me, and it depends on what we see in the future, because like the rest of them. But yeah, I don't think it's a short-term hold. I mean, you can play the market and do all the things if that's what you want to do. But for me, it is long-term. And yeah, I think it does have strong upside potential.
8.5, eh?
8.5.
You know what? I changed my mind. I want to change my score if I could. If we have
What?
Let's do it.
She convinced you?
I want to take my score back. When I'm looking at a project, I look for three things: utility, use case. ONDO's got it. Partnerships, integrations. ONDO definitely's got it. And compliance and regulations, it's got it. So for me, if we got a project that fits all three of my requirements, I can't give it anything less than a 7. I'm gonna bump it up a point, 7.5. Thank you, CryptoWewo.
All
You
right.
opened my eyes.
Well, I want to rebuttal that one. There are 8 partners and ecosystem participants that they've had to go with for liquidity. Native, SoroSwap, Toka Labs, Nomad Capital, Nonco, Wintermute, Zbeck Network, and Ripple. And so here's like, this is just us talking now, right?
Hold on, no, wait. Go back to, what is your rebuttal here?
With where the liquidity partners are coming from. So where the actual value is being transmitted, which is key because their governance token isn't actually capturing the value of the money being transferred on chain, right? They're going through for all intents and purposes, this is from their website, they're going through those 8 partners to take the liquidity and use that liquidity through their chains. So here's my rebuttal for this. I don't know 2 things. None of us do. We don't know 2 things. We don't know, 1, how we're going to measure what a chain's value is based on transferring of value back and forth. Is it going to, we have ideas, but we don't really know. Right now we say, oh, it's your amount of token because of the whole stock thing, and the amount of tokens the market cap and what it's been traded at, and then that's what the price is, because that's how we've always been taught through stocks. So I think that for value, we're going to have I believe we're going to have a new way of defining that. And then the other question, but the second question is this: a project like ONDO, which is absolutely a juggernaut, how do we derive that value?
So
Like, where go?
So I know Ray Todd said, he says, what makes the price move? The price isn't moving because money is flowing through the ecosystem. What's inevitably going to increase the price of the actual token is when someone needs it for something specific. Meaning, like, if they want the token to actually have a say in the decision making on the ecosystem, right? The price is going to go up only when people want to have a say in how the system is actually going to work. It doesn't necessarily derive from the amount of value that's flowing through the system, because the value could flow through the ONDO ecosystem without ever touching the token. So it's a governance token. It's basically, if you want more say in how the system's going to go, then you have to have the token. If not, if the tokenizing treasuries and money market funds, that value isn't being captured in the token itself.
I think this is going to be a security.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Ooh, walk me through this one.
I think that projects like ONDO will be absolutely regulated to the shit. I think you're going to get stuffed in a box so that nobody can breathe. I think that it has to be in order for the value to be, because like right now, okay, so everyone knows about the XRP lawsuit, right? It's not a security because anything that Ripple does has nothing to do with, and this isn't a Ripple debate, but it's just to give everyone context here. What XRP value can have nothing to do with what Ripple does. No partnerships, no use case. It can only be a supply and demand thing. So here's the thing. Supply and demand doesn't work with ONDO because there's no value going through that chain. It's going through other chains. Liquidity is going through other chains. So, but still very valuable, still extremely necessary. The technology is super important. So we have to give it value. It has to be, listen, if we are doing this type of partnership, if we're doing this kind of money transfer, then we have to have, the price has to reflect what that company, or not the company, but what the project is doing. That is what a definition of a security is. It's literally that.
Yeah.
So for me, which is fine, security is fine. You just have to know what you're getting into.
Right. Yeah.
Right now, the token itself, is there a promise of...
There has to be.
How? If it's limited to governance only. So
governance doesn't mean
right
anything.
now, I don't see a promise of profit by investing in the token itself if it's essentially kind of giving it rights to vote.
Then nobody's going to invest in it because there's no dollar bill attached to it. There's no real use case other than governance itself. And what does that really mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I think, that's a really good point.
7.5 to 6.5
Yeah,
right there.
actually, you're right. I may have just gone down. And
I
so
might go to
you made a
5.5.
really good point for me too, because a lot of the things that I invest into are utility driven assets, and ONDO is not a utility driven asset. It's a narrative driven asset. Although the ecosystem
It's
growing,
got utility.
Yeah, but it's not it. Yeah, but it's
It
not.
has utility. It has utility.
It does have utility, but it's not utility driven, is what I'm trying to say. And actually, ONDO itself doesn't really have the utility. An ecosystem within ONDO Finance has the utility. So
Okay.
it doesn't actually have utility.
Well, I guess by definition, the governance of the ONDO token is the utility in itself to the ecosystem that we're actually talking about.
Right.
That I agree.
But like when I talk utility, I'm talking about like it is absolutely needed for the system to work. It's needed, utility driven. Like Chainlink, like Quant, like XRP, like XLM, like XDC. So it's, you know what I'm saying, utility driven. It's a little bit different for me. So yeah, I can, oddly enough, I'd like to dive down this one a little bit further.
I think because the token itself doesn't promise a yield, it doesn't necessarily even represent ownership. If we know that it is mainly for governance, then I may not see them kind of declare it as a security. It depends on where I think it depends on where it eventually goes.
It's true.
If it does start to, you know, include the profits into if it does promise a profit within the actual token, or it's like if it's capturing fees maybe, then potentially, but it doesn't I don't think it necessarily is because it's primarily governance based, and it's not promising an ROI or even representation in the actual I guess ecosystem itself. It's not an ownership token. It may not. It may not, based on how it is built now. I don't know. That would be very interesting if we could do a little bit more research on that and see what we can come to the conclusion.
I want to potentially blow your mind here, because this could actually be a problem that I didn't think about until just now when you're talking about this. Do you use, and I don't know the answer yet, so maybe look it up, guys. Do you use ONDO in any shape, way, or form when purchasing USDY?
No, I don't think so.
I have no idea.
1 second.
I would say no. I would probably say no.
Well, you can't, because that's a yield-bearing, stable-like token, right?
Yeah.
Do you use ONDO in any way when acquiring USDY? You don't even have to use the platform. Sorry, guys. I do want to see. I love when my mind goes this way. Copy, paste. Do you use ONDO token? The answer is
No.
no.
Why was that even a thought in your head? How did you connect the two?
Volley.
There was a lot of lines
Connections
there.
being made.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So no, in any way, shape, or form, no is the answer. Okay. So back to our values. Since she brought you up, Bully, did I bring you back down?
What brought me back down?
The potential, the concept, the idea that I think that a project like ONDO may very well be a security. Because like we do know, and we agree that there are, once this bill comes into place, which apparently is anytime imminent, we do know there are going to be projects that are going to be securities. Like that's not I'm not blowing hot air here. They've said it. So I believe that this is close enough to the sun that this will be one. So in thinking that, would you keep it at 7.5?
I mean, I guess we'll never know until regulations came. I definitely don't think it's a commodity, but the crypto market structure bill kind of has its limitations as it is. I think that you're going to find projects that don't necessarily fit into a security. They don't necessarily fit into the base of a commodity, right? I think that they will eventually continue to add on to the market clarity. Maybe they'll throw in utility tokens, governance tokens. They'll probably classify them differently. I'm not sure who would be the overlying regulatory authority to do that, but there's going to be assets that don't necessarily fit securities, don't necessarily fit commodities anyway. If it does get classified as a security, I would probably say it doesn't change my vote on it.
I mean,
Because
we buy stocks all the time.
We understand the limitations of the project anyway. You know, like it's interesting because it is infrastructure. So I don't.
To be honest, if this was a security, I would go up. I would be more interested in buying it if this was a security.
Why? Because there's any means of regulatory clarity?
Correct. And then I know, okay, so I know like if the actual use case is directly attached to the value of the project, we know it can go up and to the right slowly.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we understand that it is infrastructure, it's an enabler, but it's not a commodity. It doesn't necessarily right now since it's a governance token, it doesn't necessarily reflect promise and profits or representation. So it doesn't fit into the box of a security either. So I honestly have no idea. I really don't know where this thing will fit.
Here's what we do know. The tech is phenomenal. The people are phenomenal. The partnerships are phenomenal. This we are all three of us are in complete agreement with. What does that mean? It's going to make money for you? We don't know. We can only talk about the tech, guys. Man, CryptoWewo is spinning right now. She looks like she's just going down.
I'm like
She's
trying
like
to
going
read
through that
and
circle
read
right
and
there.
read. I'm just so it is a utility token. I'm just not able to connect the dots into how it's utility driven when it's not being used. But I don't know. I guess. So from what I understand, the more it grows, the more the ecosystem grows, the more the governance token grows, and eventually it will be integrated and used. I'm not sure. I think it's a great project. I chose a different asset, a real world tokenization. I chose Rexus Finance for my RWA. I'm not saying I don't have ONDO because I do. Mostly my husband does because he was big into that one for a minute. And I was like, we'll slow down a little bit. Okay. Let's just go buy XRP. Just kidding. It's true. I have a problem.
Okay, so questions. Guys, it's a time of the show where we're going to ask questions to these two lovely co-hosts. If you have any last minute questions you want me to ask them, please feel free to put it in the chat right now.
Miss Pay-Per-View says assets passed using ONDO. A fraction of that asset goes to ONDO and also burns ONDO, guys. Did anybody?
Burns?
I didn't see anything about that.
Can't beat the price. I agree with that part. I'll let you, Bully, you can handle that one if you don't mind. Okay, so regarding CryptoWewo, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, right.
In your opinion, only, what is better, Algorand or ONDO?
Algorand, all day.
Why?
But I also think it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really even in the same wheelhouse, but I like it because it's better. So Algorand is really structured in a way in which it's like the final say, right? There's no reversing ONDO. So if a transaction is made on these blockchains, ONDO is like, it's done deal, no takebacks, no rollbacks. This is it. So it's not, I mean, it is tokenization too, but it's a little bit different than, yeah, it's Algo all day for me. So Algo is actually in my top 7 and ONDO didn't even make that list.
Even though ONDO has the partnerships it does with BlackRock, with MasterCard, with all the big, you wouldn't give it its no? Okay.
No, for me, it's Algo all day. Yeah. So
Bully?
I'm sorry.
Bully,
What was the question?
Algorand or Ondo for you? As an investment, I mean.
Um, I do own Ondo. I don't own Algorand. I do like both the projects. I probably wouldn't say that either of them are in my top 5. I don't know. They're two completely different. It's like you're comparing banana bread to meatballs. I don't know.
That's a great example.
That's a tough one. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Ondo because that's what I
Hopefully.
have, but
Yeah. You already answered the blockchain question. Somebody asked, will they keep the lion's share of the yield like they currently do? And I guess the answer there is, we don't know. And the yield, I guess, was from the yield coin, the stable coin. The answer is probably, likely yes. You're going to get your, I don't know, what's his USDY? What's it? The yield right now is like 3.4%, I think, APR.
I don't even know.
I think so.
I honestly had no idea with this question. Grok says no.
Okay. I didn't see anything about burning either. That wouldn't really make sense.
I didn't. I'm not sure about the burning thing.
Governance.
So Algo is more blockchain infrastructure long term, and Ondo is RWA. I'm all about the infrastructure for.
Let me throw that last thing to bed. No, Ondo does not currently have an automatic burn mechanism.
I didn't think so. Bully, what are your top 5 cryptos?
I gotta say, XRP and QNT are probably tied for my number 1. Probably XLM, HBAR tied for 2. XDC is there. I gotta say,
no pay-per-view, but I'll tell you.
Can I look at my watch list? I don't know. Those are really the ones that I primarily focus on my research. I would probably say that those are around there.
Miss pay-per-view, just to give you a heads up on this one. The Ondo DAO votes to implement a burn, or governance introduces a buyback and burn mechanism. As of now, there is no active burn program. So hopefully that helps you.
I really do like Internet Computer Protocol, even though the price action for that has been nudie. I do like what they're doing. I think it is fantastic tech. But this is my watch list. And I think I only own about 9 assets. I don't own many.
You own 9 assets? Damn. Okay. I don't think there's any other questions. Did you guys have any other questions? No? Okay. So we come to the part that everyone wants to do.
I have a question for you, Caveman. What are your top 5 assets?
Like what I own, or what are my top 5? It's an important question, right? If I'm doing in order, it's not really order, but like for me it would be XRP, HBAR, Ethereum, Quant, and I'm probably gonna go XLM. Is that 5? I don't really know. So that's probably where I would put. Now that's not what I necessarily own, but it is where I will be repositioning. What about you?
So for me, I'm very sector based, right? So if you ask me my top 7 ISO picks, it'd have to be XRP, XLM, XDC, Algo, HBAR, IOTA, Quant. But then if you were to ask me like my top 5 AI picks, it'd have to be Render, FET, Bitensor, Graph, and Akit. I think it's Akish. Is that? I think Akish, right? So yeah, it depends. RWAs, I mean, like I said, I mean, ONDO was in there. So I guess, yeah, ONDO, Chainlink, Quant, XDC, and Algorand are like top 5 for that. For me, it's very sector based. And I feel like you can, and I've been screaming it from the rooftops, you can allocate your assets in sectors and make more money. And I think AI sector is going to boom first. And then you're going to have real world tokenization boom second. And then like banking, ISO tokens are going to be third. So if strategically you wanted to allocate your assets based on that, pack your bags with stuff that's going to boom first.
Can I challenge your thinking for a second?
Of course.
What if I told you that all of those AI projects that you mentioned aren't fully AI on chain?
Yet.
Would that be interesting? There is one project out there, and I don't even consider it an AI project, where the AI is fully on chain, meaning that they don't rely on Web 2 infrastructure, and it's actually Internet Computer Protocol. It's the only project out there that's AI is fully on chain. The smart contracts never get pushed off to your Amazon Web Services or your Google Clouds. And I wouldn't even consider Internet Computer Protocol an AI project, but their smart contracts or their canisters, they never actually leave the chain. So for me, I think that Internet Computer Protocol doesn't capture Web3, the read, write, and own aspect of it perfectly, but it is interesting. If you are interested in kind of learning a little bit more about, and that goes for everyone, if you are interested in learning about the AI projects, figure out whether or not the smart contracts ever actually leave the chain and they rely on the Web 2 infrastructure. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that is. Maybe we should do we should do more shows. Maybe we should just go live every night, guys. Where's my flag? I gotta get a flag. I'm gonna get a Wewo flag because I'm neutral.
Yeah, there you go. You can be like Switzerland.
So no, but really, yeah, there's some great stuff. We should maybe focus. I don't know. Maybe one time we should do like a sector breakdown, right? And I don't know, different. Yeah.
I'm so rattled right now.
Are we ready for our vote?
We are ready. We are 100% ready. I need this day to be over with as soon as possible. Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time that everyone wanted to do. We are going to vote on next week's project. As you know, you can only vote once, so please don't throw in all your don't go bit tensor tau 15,000 times. I'm only going to do it once. So starting right now, give me the project that you want, and we're starting with SHX. So the project that has the most votes is the one we're going to do. IOTA, XEC, BTC, 2 ETH. We did Solana. We did XRP already, sorry. ICP, say, IOTA. We did Canton already, guys. Tau, BTC. We did Metallicus already. XDC twice. Tau. Did we do Tau?
Let's follow my co-host as well. Thank you.
We did HBAR already. Aave. Wolfie. Did we do XTC?
We did.
We did? See, I even forget. Monero. We did Algo already. 2. Wolfie. 1, 2. Monero. Okay, So they're between the next. We're gonna do it between these three tokens: IOTA, Monero, and WFI. It's just what I need. More America. Just do WFI, guys. Just throw me out of the window. Okay, so Monero, WFI, or IOTA. 1, 2, IOTA. 2, Monero 1, IOTA, IOTA, IOTA.
You got a tough job, brother.
Monero once. 10 seconds. 10 seconds left, and we're shutting it down. The Wewo coin.
Jeffy, I love you. The Wewo coin.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 IOTAs. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Seek the truth. Just got it. 11 WLFI. WLFI wins.
Yay.
Wow.
What a great end to your day, Caveman.
America, yeah? I'm so excited.
That's American as hell.
Can't wait. Anyone want to know what I think of that project? Ask me now.
I actually
Do
don't
you
know much
love
about
it?
I'm actually interested to know more. I am okay. With all honesty, there has been times when we've been doing these shows where I have been super surprised with the project and have changed my viewpoint. I am hoping that WLFI will prove the same.
Trump as a guest next Sunday.
I'm wearing. Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hoping that there will be some use case for it. I'm hoping that it won't just be. Actually, to be honest, how are we not going to get? Well, you know that what's the Freedom Fund, $1 billion? You buy into it, and everyone listens to Donald Trump for the rest of his life. What's it, guys? What in the chat? What's that called? His freedom, free society, free, like join my club and you're free, but it costs $1 billion.
Oh, right. Yeah, like isn't that insane?
So, to be honest, to be honest, I really don't care. Really, I don't. But here's what I have heard. I heard that there's going to be an army that they're gonna fund, and that there will be a police force that they're gonna fund. And I do believe that the only reason I bring this up is because I'm pretty sure WFI is integrated in there. The Winners Club.
This could be the best wormhole deep dive ever. I'm all about conspiracy theories, Caveman. Let's do it. It's going to be it's awful what's coming, right?
How have we not done SUI yet? You guys chose WFI over, we haven't done SUI, we haven't done SAY.
So excited.
ULFI is a crazy one. But that's what you guys want, so we'll do it. We'll do it for the USA, baby.
It's insane. But yeah, listen, we do know, the real utility is it's made him a lot of money. That's the truth. USD1's probably attached to that project to a certain degree. I don't really know how much right as of the here and now. And I guess we're going to find out, which is going to be awesome. I'm so happy. Today made me happy. My heart melted today. You know that Grinch, the Grinch, where it's 10 sizes too small? That's what just happened. You guys did that to me today.
Mine grew 10 sizes larger.
Totally kidding. Love you guys. You're the best. This was a good. I liked Ondo. I liked Ondo because it. Well, first of all, we don't have to agree, which is way better that way. And two, it's weird because this is the first project, personally, guys, where I love absolutely everything that they are doing in every way, shape, and form. It gets my gonads going, but I just don't know if there's room for me to make money on the project. That's the one problem I have with it, and that's the biggest problem because you know what? It doesn't matter if it's a great project if we're not going to make money on it. Then is what it is. SLX56 amendment. Any info on what it is and what it happens? XLS amendment 56. Can we have a revive? Remy, where were you?
Guys, I really have to pee.
Do you? I really have to go barf. Thank you for a wonderful show, guys. You guys were amazing. Thank you for the 108,000 likes. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for being here on a Sunday night. And moreover, thank you to America
For winning today.
Am I good to disconnect you, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yes. Have a great
100%.
night,
Thank
guys.
you guys so
Bye,
much.
guys.
Great job.
Good night.
Appreciate you.
Wow, that was an amazing episode. Throw ones in the chat if tonight was a great episode. Thank you to my co-hosts.